Good morning, boys and girls. We are going to start with a warm-up activity this morning where we are going to be comparing. Now, before we used our number racks, but that's because our numbers were smaller than 10. And today I want to use some numbers that are a little bit bigger, not a lot, just to 20. But we're still going to use the same idea. We are going to be comparing them, and we're going to be using, we're going to be using two number line mats to help us today in our comparing. That way we can use some bigger numbers, okay? All right. So we're gonna find, whoops, this is only to 10, sorry. Flip these over. All right, we need to find the number 16. So 16 I know is 10, 6, so I'm gonna count. These are organized just like our number racks, except for being red and white. They are gray and white, so we've got 5, 10, 15, one more is 16. That's much faster, boys and girls, than counting 1, 2, 3, much more efficient. We're all about being efficient in our thinking. Okay, our second number that we're going to compare is 12. So we've got 10, 11, 12. And you'll notice that I am putting a line all the way back because this is where they start. They both start here, and I'm going to have to keep my mats very lined up. Now, the idea is the same though. When I compare, I want to find the difference between. It means they're not the same, something is different about them. Let's check it out. I noticed that we made a longer line on top. And it's more because 16 is more than 12, right? And we want to know how many more. Which mat has more marked squares? And how many more does it have, right? Now, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to find out what they have in common, just like I did with the racks. And guess what? They have 12 in common. There is a 12 in 16. Do you see how at the end of 12, up here 16 also has 12, from here to here is the same? But this is our extra. Remember the extra beads that we talked about? This is the same thing, only this is extra on our number line. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 extra. There are 4 more squares marked for 16 than there were for 12. The other way I can think about this, if that was too hard, is I can come right to the end of my 12 and cover these up. It makes that 4 more really easy to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Okay, let's try another one, okay? Let's do another one. This time, let's do 13. So I've got 10, 11, 12, 13. And 9, 10, 9. Now, what do I notice about these numbers? I notice that 13 is more than 9. It's longer. I want to know how many more. Now, is 13 getting more? No. It's already more. I want to know how many more. I'm comparing them. I'm not adding them together. I don't want to know how many there are in all. I'm looking for my extra. Is 13 more? Yes, it is. Let's look for this extra. 1, 2, 3, 4 more. 13 is 4 more than 9 because there were 4 extra squares at the end of the 9. Okay, let's try another one. This time, let's do 11. So I'm gonna mark 10, 10, 11. And I'm going to mark 17. So there's 10, 15, 16, 17. I noticed that 11 is less than or fewer than 17 this time. Our top number is smaller. How many fewer? Same thing, guys. I'm going to go find What do they have in common? Right here at the end of 11 is where they stop being the same. And I'm looking for the extra. How many extra? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 11 is 6 fewer than 17. We could also say that 17 is 6 more than 11 because it would take 6 more squares for 11 and 17 to be the same. Okay, let's try another one. And then we'll move on. We're gonna do 18, so there's 15, 16, 17, 18. And let's do 13, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. Now I notice that 18 on top is more than 13 on the bottom. How much more? How many more is 18? Now, is 18 getting more? Am I adding these numbers together? No. I don't want to know how many there are in all. I just want to know how much longer is 18 than 13? How much more is it? It is more. Look, right here they stop being the same. And there's more. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more squares that were marked. Now, boys and girls, we are going to take this idea of how many more than, and we're going to use our organizer this time to help us solve some how many more than problems. There are a few of you who are missing all of the problems, and I want to take just a minute to talk about why. Boys and girls, you know from doing change problems with me that just because we hear more in a story does not mean we're adding. Just like even though somebody may have added something in a story, it doesn't mean it's an addition problem. If we're looking for the part, then it's going to be subtract. This is a little bit like that in the fact that the only time we're going to add is if we're getting more or if we're looking for this large amount. But where I'm looking for the difference in my problems, difference means subtract. I'm going to subtract those numbers. It's going to help me find that extra, right? The extra squares at the end of the numbers we're comparing. So let's look at a few problems together. And I'm going to kind of make some notes down here. So it says, Mrs. Douglas, I'm going to put D for Douglas, made 17 treat bags. Mrs. Johnson, I'm going to show her with a J, made 10 treat bags for a party. How many more treat bags did Mrs. Douglas make than Miss Johnson? Did Mrs. Douglas make more? Well, yes, 17 is more than 10. And so you guys have all been very good to put the large amount there and the small amount there and your mystery number there, but I have half of you adding these numbers up. Remember this activity. When I compared these numbers, did I count up all the squares together? No. I found what they had in common, right? Which is just like part, whole, guys. And if you, I'm going to show you this. This organizer looks a whole lot like part, whole. There is a 10 in 17. Do you see it? When we get to the 10, 17 has some more squares, and that's what we're going to find. This is a subtract pattern. So I'm going to do 17, and I'm going to subtract 10. Now 10 is a 2-digit number, so I'm going to go up and down. When I subtract, I touch the first or the top number, say its name, and count back. I always begin on the arrow side. 7, 1, 0, so just 7. There are 7 extra squares at the end of the 10. When we line up 10 and 17 together, and we stop at the 10, this means there are 7 extras on the end there. All right, let's do another problem. Mrs. McMillan has 14 kids in her class going to a movie party. So I'm going to do M for McMillan. There are 14 kids in that class going to a movie party. Mr. King, and we'll put K for him, he has 19 students going to a movie party. How many fewer students does Mrs. McMillan have going to the party? Does she have fewer? Yes, 14 is fewer. Now remember, I can compare with 2 questions. How many more is this number than this number? That means it's got more, it's longer. I can also ask how many fewer a number is. And I'm still talking about that extra. Where do the numbers stop having things in common? And what is the extra? So 19 is our large amount. 14 is our small amount, and we are still looking for the difference, boys and girls. If you want to come out here and make a strip diagram, you'll notice that the strip diagram looks a whole lot like our compare organizer, although 19 is not the total number of kids. This is not, but rather 19 is the largest amount of kids and 14 is the smallest amount. I just wanted to show you how they are similar. It is a subtract pattern. And so I'm going to subtract large amount minus small amount. And because 14 is a 2-digit number, I'm going to go up and down. When I subtract, I touch the top number, say its name, and count back. I will always start on the arrow side. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 1, 0, so just 5. So 19 has 5 extras. When we get to what they have in common at 14, when we get to 14 and we stop, 19 has 5 extra boxes. And I want you to remember that activity so that when you're doing tomorrow's assignment, you are not confused about what the question is asking, okay? All right, boys and girls, the kids are having a water balloon party and they are supposed to bring their own water balloons. Jaden is bringing 18 balloons. Misha is bringing 12 balloons. How many more balloons is Jaden bringing? Is he bringing more? Yes, 18 is more than 12. They are not equal. If I were to build them with my strips, I would notice that 12 would stop and 18 would keep going, right? And so we're looking for the difference. And thinking about my part whole organizer, this looks very similar to, this is a subtract pattern. 18, subtract 12. Because when I look for the difference, I am subtracting, I'm comparing them, right? When I subtract, I touch the top number, say its name, and count back. I always begin on the arrow side. So 8, 7, 6, 1, 0, so just 6. 18, when we get to 12, 12 stops, and there's a 12 in the 18, but 18 goes a little bit more. There are 6 extras on that 18. All right, let's do one more, and then we will call it quits for today. I think we're getting this. All right, Kyle and Joseph were decorating for the party. Kyle hung 7 decorations from the ceiling, and Joseph put 12 decorations on the wall. How many more decorations did Joseph put up than Kyle? Did he put up more? Yes. Does the question ask how many decorations did they put up in all? No. It just wants to know if 12 is bigger, how much bigger? That means we are starting and we're finding what they have in common, which is 7, and we're looking for that extra, which means we are subtracting. The difference means we are subtracting. So we're gonna do 12, subtract 7. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Joseph put up 5 more than Kyle. All right, boys and girls, I think today was excellent work. I am super proud of you. If you have any questions, please come by and see me during office hours. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.